YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back, and we're about through this first wave of undrafted free agency here post NFL draft. The top players that went undrafted, the players that were expected to be drafted, have signed to their NFL teams. I'm here to break it down and actually rank these players. I ended up with 15 players with round 5 or better grades from myself, and I'm going to rank those players here from 15 to 1, talk about the teams they landed on. We do this video every single year. Ends up being one of our more popular videos, so that's pretty cool. Excited to do it again. We covered the NFL draft fully. We're going to have more videos throughout the week going back, looking at draft classes. But we had winners, losers, grades, all that already up, so check it out. Full NFL coverage, not just the NFL draft. So subscribe, smash that like button, follow that Twitter for constant NFL talk. Link pinned in the comments for anything you need here. Here's our Twitter. We talked about every pick throughout the NFL draft, just constant talk about the channel and the NFL, so check it out. Much appreciated if you can follow us there and here on YouTube. Number 15, undrafted free agency signing, going to go to the Saints, signing Trill Williams from Syracuse. This is interesting because a couple times I compared his style of play to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who was actually on the Saints. You know, a little different builds, just a type of player, you know, kind of. Is he a safety? Is he a slot guy? He's mainly a slot player, and that's what Trill Williams is. So maybe is going to have a tough time, you know, making the team, honestly, because the Saints are pretty good at that position. They actually have a couple guys that can play that slot role, versatile in the secondary. But he's a good ball player. You know, he's listed as a safety for Syracuse. You know, he feels more like a slot corner. Maybe if he has upside somewhere else, I'd say outside corner maybe. So actually, watch out for the Saints maybe to try him out there because they could use some more players out there. You know, I wouldn't have been surprised if he went somewhere around the 5th round. So that's a pretty good pickup there for the Saints. Number 14 is going to be Charles Snowden from the Virginia Cavaliers there, the lengthy pass rusher. I mean, looks like a basketball player with his length. Does have a thin frame. That's why he didn't get drafted. You know, definitely has to put on some strength, some size to him. But he has the freaky length. Obviously, you can't coach that. Was pretty productive at Virginia. Originally was kind of a hybrid player, mainly an off-the-ball linebacker, but they would just blitz him a ton, and they would kind of realize, yeah, this guy's really an edge rusher. So they kind of adjusted him a little bit more then. So he has upside is what I'm getting to. With that length and with the, you know, kind of moving positions a little bit, just really has to you know, add some strength to him. I'm sure an NFL program like the Chicago Bears can do that. Learning from Khalil Mack is fantastic as well. If he sticks, makes the team. That's a problem with a lot of the undrafted guys too, because they're so raw. They got so much potential, but they have a short period of actually making the team so they could reach that potential. So hopefully guys like this kind of stick for at least a season here to prove what they can do or become. 13, I'm going to go Darius Stills from West Virginia going to the Raiders. I think he tested very well. He also got pretty good tape. He's got really good lateral movement and quickness, pretty explosive on the inside. Didn't really wow with anything, but, you know, those are things you can't really coach in terms of the interior defensive lineman. You know, I think Aaron Donald wins big time off that. His explosiveness off the ball, how quick he is. Stills, I mean, he's not going to be Aaron Donald, obviously, but he has just some of those things that you can't really coach. So you just coach the rest out of him. And the Raiders, they could have added an interior guy here, so they grab him undrafted. I thought there was another guy that there was a shot. Maybe he could have went 5th or 6th round here. So it's a pretty good pickup for the Las Vegas Raiders. Number 12 is going to be ALARIC Jackson from Iowa. Another guy, maybe 6th round, and wouldn't have been super surprising, but this was a guy, you know, we once thought, you know, a couple years ago, maybe he can become something, you know, maybe a day 2 pick, maybe even better. Never really put it together. I think it's mainly his technique, maybe his footwork. You know, his footwork definitely needs to get better, but I mean, NFL offensive line coaches are the best, obviously, you know, so I think if they could fix that, get his technique down, his footwork down, he could be good. So he has some good upside there. I thought that was very important for the Rams to get depth on the offensive line. I thought that was actually very important. They had a weird draft plan. There were some picks I liked, some picks I didn't. It was just kind of interesting, you know, so they got much needed depth with a pretty good tackle here. Number 11 on the undrafted free agency list of 2021. OLAIJAH GRIFFIN. Actually surprised he didn't get drafted. I thought for sure, you know, even if teams were lower on him than I was, I thought for sure somebody would scoop him up because I think he's a pretty safe corner. I guess he doesn't have the speed you're looking for because outside corners for the NFL, they need to have a certain speed, you know, and he didn't really test that well in that category, I guess. He's got a really good tape, though. He's got good technique. This is actually, believe it or not, I know this is not the number one thing you're looking for corners, but believe it or not, this is one of the top tackling corners in the entire NFL draft. I mean, you talk about Patrick Surtain and you talk about OLAIJAH Griffin when you're talking about tacklers. So he loves to tackle, too. He flies up, makes the play, makes the hit, can wrap up if he needs to. So I like that about him. He wants to play. He wants to hit. And solid in coverage. Not really going to wow. I guess he is lacking the speed a little bit. Maybe the Bills, but I don't think they put him in the slot. I like him outside. They'll try him outside. And he can compete for maybe to make that team because they could use more corners there. So I like that pickup for the Bills. Number 10 going to be TAMORRION Terry from Florida State. I know a lot of people really liked him. They liked his upside here. They thought he can be drafted. Yeah, I'm a little surprised somebody didn't take him a little later. But he is kind of just, I don't want to say one-trick pony, but almost. He's very, very fast, but straight line speed, not going to be that quick. Kind of a deep ball guy there down the field, which fits. Probably a big reason he picked the Seattle Seahawks because, it's free agency still here. He's a deep ball guy, and that kind of fits Russell Wilson ball. Can learn a little bit from DK Metcalf, perhaps, similar mold type of player. So that's a pretty good pickup for the Seahawks here. Again, deep ball specialist, pretty poor quarterback play, rapidly switching quarterbacks, switching coaches at Florida State, so that affected players like this. So some upside at the NFL level here. It's a really good pickup for the Seahawks. Thought he could have been a 5th or 6th round pick there. Kenny YEBOAH going to the Jets. The random tight ends that went and Kenny YEBOAH didn't go. A little surprising. I guess I can understand why. It's because, you really want this guy to be an inline tight end, but he's not an inline tight end. He's almost a wide receiver. He pretty much is a wide receiver. I guess the way he moves, the way he catches the ball reminds me of a kind of a receiver version of a guy like Jared Cook. Obviously not going to be as good as him, but going to have more athleticism to him. The Jets definitely could use a tight end. They can definitely use a weapon of a tight end here, so that helps. He can make the team. Ole Miss was, it's not like a tight end offense. I know he's not really your true tight end, but, having a team that can kind of develop, him to more of his position and use him more like that, maybe it's just get it out of him and not that he can't do it. He just got to be in the right offense here, which is going to be a different offense than what Ole Miss ran. That could be a blessing here for him. But I thought he was worth the 5th round pick to work with because he's a phenomenal athlete, downfield, contested catcher. You got to get the rest out of him here. They're prospects. Number 8, going to go SHAKUR Brown from Michigan State to the Steelers. Yeah, the reason he didn't get drafted probably is he's another guy lacking the speed. The corners need certain speed for pretty much any team to play them, to take them, to play them. But he had a pretty good career at Michigan State. Pretty tight in coverage, playmaker. I like him in the slot. He played some reps there. You don't really need that crazy speed for the slot. You need quickness. And, there's a difference, actually. And I think he has the quickness. So they did lose Mike Hilton. They do have Sutton for the slot. But you get some competition in here with Brown. I think he can make a team as a slot corner here. So I think that's a pretty solid pick. I wouldn't have been surprised if he went as high as the 4th round. I thought, anywhere around that 4, 5, 6 range. But because of the speed, if he ran a faster 40, he probably would have got taken here. And you remember, it wasn't combine 40, so if anybody had a lower end or underwhelming 40 at a pro day, a lot of teams were probably questioning, is he even slower than that, or was that about the same as it would have been at the combine? So that was kind of a problem as well. 7 going to be TREVON Grimes here. Really growing on me as a player over the process, and mainly his upside here. And I like this for the Eagles too because they could all I guess they have a somewhat deep receiver room, but they can improve everywhere besides Devontae Smith now, of course, because that's a big time number 1. But Grimes can make the team. He was pretty damn solid for Florida. He's a big body receiver, can go up and catch the ball pretty good in the red zone. Got some wiggle to him for a bigger guy as well. I think his best football is definitely ahead of him. A lot of upside. But you look at what Florida did. So many targets to Kyle Pitts and Kadarius Toney that this was kind of the third option. It's a pretty damn good third option. If one of those didn't exist, I don't care which one. Pitts or Toney. we would have been talking about Grimes a lot more. He would have been a lot more productive. He would have got drafted. So if you think about it that way, the Eagles might have got themselves something here. So I really like this one. It's really growing on me. There was some people that probably projected him going undrafted. I would have taken a shot on him maybe in the 5th round. So, and again, I see the upside for those reasons. Number 6 is going to be Dylan Moses. Was a surprising one to a lot of people. Honestly, this one doesn't really shock me. This is a really good player. He's number 6 on the list. Really good player. Really good pickup for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was talking about this a couple weeks ago. I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago maybe. I don't see a whole lot of upside, honestly, as a linebacker. Maybe as a 4-3 outside, weak side. Maybe rush him a lot, blitz him, rush him off the edge on obvious passing downs. That's what I would like. He had some reps where actually, even besides the blitzing, he had some reps where Bama almost put him off the edge and rushed him, And he looked pretty solid there. I'm starting to think his upside might be there. So we'll see where Jacksonville uses him. Doesn't really wow at the linebacker position maybe. Doesn't really show that, okay, he can improve. He's going to improve there. Maybe not a lot of upside, but he's a good football player. He had a little rough year this year. Post-injury. The injury also played a part of him going undrafted. Another reason why I'm not floored, surprised that he went undrafted. But if he can get back on track to playing where he was, then I feel a lot better about the actual linebacker position there. But that's a big-time, well-known player that the Jacksonville Jaguars picked up here. So that's big time. And then number 5, I'm going to go CADE Johnson, South Dakota State receiver. Extremely, extremely productive. Was a big, big part of that offense for the Jackrabbits there. And had a pretty big-time Senior Bowl. Good in one-on-ones, which I expect. Receivers better be good on one-on-ones. Some people kind of overreact too much from that, but he was good. And dominant slot receiver. He's got the speed. He's got the hands. He's got the after-the-catch vision and ability, really. I think he was consistently highly productive for a reason. So Seahawks got a good slot receiver here. They did get Dwayne Eskridge, who was they got him in the 2nd round. He was an outside receiver, but you feel like he can be big time in the slot. And they have Lockett, who kind of can do both, but Metcalf on the outside as well. So you think Eskridge would stick mainly in the slot, could interchange with Lockett there. So Johnson, I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised the Seahawks got both those receivers, TAMORRION Terry and CADE Johnson. Terry, I think it makes a little more sense. I'm surprised Johnson chose to go to the Seahawks here. But there's a lot of teams that are pretty loaded at receivers. So that's a big-time pickup, though, especially according to my grade pre-draft and his production. That's pretty big for the Seahawks there. Number 4, I'm going to go lower receiver, Austin Watkins Jr. to the 49ers. I actually had a slightly better grade on CADE Johnson, but I got Watkins a little higher. Because this is one of my sleepers. I liked Watkins a lot. I was on him pretty early, but I also think, maybe there's a better chance of him sticking on the 49ers. I actually heard going into day 2 that the 49ers were going to target, if the right receiver fell to them, they were going to target them because they are a little worried about the injury concern. Deebo Samuel, fine receiver. There's some injury around there. Remember, they lost Kendrick Bourne as well. So they were actually going to target one of those known day 2 receivers, apparently. It didn't work out. That applies to a lot of the teams. Watkins, I thought, was good enough to get drafted in the 5th round. He was very productive, great hands. For me, the battle for the best hands in the class, maybe Watkins Jr. with guys like Jamar Chase and Elijah Moore. So, he's got strong hands, can go up and catch it. Solid after the catch, pretty solid separation. If he was on a better team, better college, better school, I should say, he still would have played, and I think he would have been maybe more production with a better quarterback, productive with a better quarterback, and then would have been drafted. So this is one that can stick because, again, the Niners are looking for guys like this here. Definitely can make the team. So I really like that. It was one of my sleepers pretty early in the process. We're on to the big top 3 best undrafted free agency signings of 2021. Number 3, go quarterback. Go Jamie Newman from Wake Forest. Recently from Georgia. I was really excited about him going to Georgia. Then he opted out. So I had actually hurt his stock quite a bit. You question a lot of things with that. I know a lot of guys opted out, but the quarterbacks didn't. The quarterbacks didn't. And it also makes you wonder, was he about to lose the job? Did he kind of get that feeling? He just doesn't care. What's the situation? You didn't get those feelings about him when he's at Wake Forest. He really improved that last year at Wake Forest. Downfield ball was great. Arm strength is great. Can break sacks, could break tackles at the next level too, could run pretty mobile. Accuracy, a little bit of an issue, especially on the intermediate, routes, inconsistent there. worry about him under pressure. Senior Bowl was a big stage for him, and I mean, he didn't have the best protection in that game, but he was not playing well under pressure at all. So I think that hurt him a little bit as well. But the improvement he shown over 2018 going to 2019 is pretty rare for, just a quarterback. Usually the quarterbacks that get drafted, usually the quarterbacks that make it to the NFL, maybe more, are the guys that are able to do that. The other guys just kind of stay the same, So that's a good sign. I mean, you can't coach the arm talent down the field, the arm strength, and it's good that he's a little mobile there. So the Eagles add him to the mix. I think he can make the team. I think he'd make the team. I think teams were worried about, why did he opt out? What was the situation there with Georgia? But I like this. I thought there was a shot he can go as early as 4 just because of his upside, and quarterback's that important. But he slips through there, and the Eagles grab him, and that's our second player on this list. So them and the Seahawks got 2 players on the list so far. Number 2, I'm going to go to Darius Washington, the safety from TCU, staying in purple, going to the Ravens. This is a big-time pickup. Ravens to me, actually could have used the safety, and they grab one here. I think he could have went as high as the 4th round. I really do. Very productive career, good, consistent career at TCU. Ran a lot of split safety looks where, it's just they're split at 50% of the field each, obviously, on the back end for Washington and TREVON Merrick, who was known as, for most people, the top safety in the class. Washington felt more like a free safety, just the way he was able to make plays in the back end, make plays on the ball, read the quarterback. I think he dropped because he is a little not really undersized, but a little on the shorter side. I don't want to say, usually when you say undersized, they're too short, maybe to play. Not at all to me, but a little on the shorter side. And he didn't time that well in the 40. He looks faster on the field, but he could be faster in speed-wise. He has plenty of quickness. Take away the 40, the long speed. He's very athletic, explosive athlete, can jump. He's a playmaker. He's experienced at free, strong, and in the slot. But I really like him as a free safety, and that's good for the Ravens too, because they could use more of a playmaker on the back end. But even their free safeties will kind of come up compared to most teams because they run a bit, cover zero, or just having the safeties in the box. They blitz them sometimes. So I think him being familiar with moving around a bit, playing different kind of safety roles, I think makes him a fit here for the Baltimore Ravens. I like this. This is kind of a steal of undrafted free agency here. I think he can make the team. He is a playmaker. He's a ball hawk. Love that. Love those types of guys there. And there's really no weaknesses to his game. There's really nothing that's like bad on tape, really, So surprised, very, very surprised he went undrafted. Number 1, though, is a no-brainer to me, and that's Marvin Wilson going to the Browns. It's a big time pickup for the Browns. I mean, they end up cutting Sheldon Richardson, which was tough because I do think he's a good player, and they're looking for interior guys, and Marvin Wilson might have one of the better shots to, maybe not right away, but be that guy for them, in my opinion. I am shocked that he went undrafted. You go back to 2019. He played like a first-round pick. Worst case, second-round pick. He played that good, was a disruptor. Just throw guards around. Just throw them around. He was the bully. Just literally grab them and whip them. Stop the run at a high level, get good pressure on the quarterback on passing, against the pass reps. Always getting his hands on the ball. Pass deflection machine. Even on special teams, just getting his hands on the ball, get some deflection, some blocks. That's a football player right there. He can line up at multiple spots there because of his strength, and I think he has pretty good. He's not going to run a fast 40. That's really not where the athleticism comes in for defensive tackles anyways. I think he's athletic for his size. What happened in 2020? 2020, he put on a little bit of bad weight. He looked a little more muscular in 2019, 2020. Just a little bad weight. Not the worst thing. It's not like crazy, like he got fat or something, out of shape. It wasn't like that to me. It's just you wish he was at the 2019 Marvin Wilson still. And then the bad thing was it showed up on tape. He almost declined because of it. But the way I look at it, still wasn't a bad player. The way I look at it, though, you get him back in the right shape, the right mode. That 2019 didn't happen by a fluke. You just got to get it out of him. For him going undrafted, I think it's just poor judgment, lazy almost, because do you not watch 2019? Do you think you just can't get that back out of him? You can't coach that back out of him? I'm wondering if there's something else going on, because that It's just a little confusing to me. He was an absolute stud in 2019. I think you can get that back. I definitely think you can get that back out of him. So, I mean, last year we were literally talking about him being a first, maybe a second round pick. But, the Browns draft Tommy Togiai, which maybe they can play different types of interior spots. But I like Marvin Wilson a lot more. I liked his tape a lot more. Togiai was pretty productive this year. But I wouldn't, if somebody would have taken him in the third round, maybe the back end of the third round, I would have been fine with it, with Marvin Wilson. So, again, a little bit of an off year. Other thing to keep in mind, Florida State's been a mess. It's a big school that's been a mess. They've been swapping coaches like crazy, changing things. That affects the kids. That affects a guy like Marvin Wilson here. I think you get him in a consistent program, where he can stick, where he can learn, we can get back in the right shape. Easily, I think you can get back there, and which is very routine, simple for NFL programs. Brown's in a good situation now. I love it. I don't see how this guy can't stay. It wouldn't make sense to me that if this guy can't figure it out, there would have to be something other than football on the field to it. That's the only thing. This is a damn good undrafted free agent to me. Just a little bit of an off year this year. That's all it was. It's almost like you look at the guys that opted out in 2020. So those guys were better off. Than Marvin Wilson was better off opting out. What happened if he opted out and you had to base things off the 2019 tape? He would have went a lot earlier. Like, that's why it's kind of a joke, and that's why I think and you hear teams kind of complaining before the draft they don't have enough tape because of the opt-outs, and some teams had to trade for next year picks because of it. I think that's just lazy, to be honest, but just for those reasons, I don't know. Again, what if he opted out? You'd have based off 2019, you would have taken him, and you wouldn't have, but you took guys that did opt out this year. So I know it's not easy. It's not easy for teams, for coaches, GMs, whatever. But everyone went about their business a little different. I think Wilson has that upside to get back to where he's playing. It's in him. It's in him there. So it's a huge. I love it, as you could tell. Huge pickup for the Browns there. Some really good pickups. There's more than just 15, but I thought it was interesting that I had exactly 15 that had a 5th round grade for me or better, and that created this video here that we do every single year. So a bunch of winners videos, some graded every day one pick. Those videos on the channel. You can go back, look at my position rankings where I talk about guys like Marvin Wilson and all those guys, all the guys of the draft, really. So more videos on the way going forward, covering the draft, covering the NFL. We'll eventually get to my season predictions, all those things. So really excited. Subscribe to the channel, smash that like button. Make sure you follow our Twitter. Very important. Link pinned in the comments for that. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.